We got run on the freaking ones and twos. Welcome to another episode of Keeping It Orange and Blue. I'm Ryan Evan, joined as always by my good friend Kevin Ducey. It has been a while. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Hey, passing that drink, I love it.
Yeah. Obviously, we wanted to go. wanted to go on Sunday. We've been dealing with some things. Sunday was a kind of a crappy sports day for both of us. Probably worse for you than it was for me. And we've both been battling some illness. So sorry to the fans that we haven't been here. But here we are. So good to be back on to talk a little Illini hoops for the most part. Maybe a little Illini football and let's see what the week has in store for us.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't
know.
Little
TSJ probably leading.
Little TSJ. I don't know if you guys have any big major fears in your life, You have anything that just keeps you away, I think it might want to draw you in. It might be drawing you in now. But yeah, I'm still not 100%.
Yeah, sometimes when I
go ahead.
Me neither. I got the COVID here, and I was gonna say sometimes when those fears drive you in, I like to go to the good book and Jeremiah. It does.
Oh, is that your favorite book? Jeremiah. That is a great chapter in the good book. Yeah, that definitely quells all my fears. Hey, thank you. I'll be here another 45 minutes, but anyway, yeah. So we'll get to it. Our cheesy humor here, looking like Skip Bayless. So we'll go. Let's start with Illinois, preview Michigan, and we'll talk a little bit about our thoughts from Sunday and the Michigan game. Maryland game. It was a really shitty day for me because not only did I feel shitty, but then I had to watch a shitty performance. And when I say shitty, it's like they looked like they all had what I had, like when 90% of the team could care less to get a loose ball, a 50-50 rebound. And really, you could just tell Maryland wanted it more. And I know that was not going to fly and isn't going to fly in any day or week with Brad Underwood. He mentioned it in the post game, but it was great to hear, Luke Goody and Damask mention it as well, that they know that they got out tough, really they just kind of got punked in the second half. It was just like, we're just going to throw the ball down to Julian Reese and he's going to own you, and then basically on the 50-50 balls, Maryland's going to get about 75% of those. And they're going to get second and third chance opportunities. And if they don't get the first one, they'll definitely get the third one. And then eventually you could just tell when Maryland got that 5-6 point lead, it nearly never diminished from that because Illinois could never get the pace to just get a stop. They could never get more than 2 stops in a row to end the game, Kevin. And that's really what bothered me the most.
Well, yeah. We could point the finger to the offense, and you're going to have nights where you don't shoot well. They shot 32% from the field, 6 of 30 from Guerrier, Rogers, Harmon, Hawkins. 4 of 25 Hawkins out of the equation. It was 2 for 6, which is actually boosts up that total percentage. A guy shot 33%, ups the percentage. But yeah, it was more defense. You're going to have nights where you don't make shots, but they were not defensively sound. I know it kind of rubs you a little bit the wrong way, but I don't mind saying it. Like we research and we get our information from a lot of places, and I love what Mike LaTulip and Jay Lehman do with their VIP videos that you can watch. And LaTulip was just like he didn't talk about all. It was entirely on defense and no problem with this ball game. It was the first all year that I thought the team hadn't been connected. Yeah, we lost to Purdue, where we were down 20 and we fought back. We lost a game against a really good Tennessee team in their place, and it didn't go our way. But we played hard. We fought. We lost a game when, I wish we could have played Marquette a month later. We were trying to find ourselves. So, I don't want to say there's excuses for other losses in the season, but, we lost to good teams. I still think Maryland's a good team. I'm to stand by this, and I think there's some Illinois fans could walk off this ledge a little bit. And I was listening to some guys break it down and said, "Hey, at what point in time does Maryland?"
Northwestern in Evanston right now, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I got it taped because once I'm done with this, I'm going to watch the end of that game where I don't have to watch free throws or video reviews or commercials, which is a favorite way to watch a game. But that team was predicted to finish third in the Big Ten. A lot of folks had them second. The team's got a lot of talent on there, and they need to figure some things out. So it wasn't like, yeah, it's a quad 3 loss right now, and that's really bad. And it really impacts Illinois' resume in a negative. We got to fix some things. But I think that loss could change over the course of the season if Maryland could start to figure some things out. But they got talent, right? They've got a lot of ability on that side of the ball. We did things that were really weird. We went over ball screens when we should have been. We're closing off wrong sides of guys on defense. We put guys in really difficult spots. Coleman probably had his worst game defensively. I know somebody said he got schooled inside. Nobody's ever going to expect Coleman to be the best one-on-one defender with a guy 5 feet from the basket. It's not what he's good at. He did the other couple good things. Obviously, he had that block and the run out was great. But it's just, I mean, I think there's a little bit of the weight of the season showed its head on Sunday. We can sit here and we can look at what this team did, especially immediately post the loss of TSJ. And we're like, hey man, this team has got a lot of ability, and we still have a first team All Big Ten guy in Marcus Damask, and he's playing like that. That's their teammate, dude. That's their guy. That's their friend. That's five of them went over to Springfield for the hearing last week, and like some of them on them, and they didn't have this performance. They've been sick. You know, you and I both, I know I've got COVID right now. You've got ear infection and all the other things. Like they just didn't have their best effort. They didn't play their best game. A little bit's on Brad. I know a lot of people complaining about Brad, and Brad doesn't switch defenses, and Brad should go to his zone. I'm like, come on, man. We had Raphael Davis on the show talk about it. Like, you can't just go do that. It's not the way he's like. If they would have executed their defense, Illinois would have won the game. I'm convinced of that. Now we've got the question is there a hangover effect from this one, or can they go up to Ann Arbor and go beat a Michigan team who looked like they had a little bit of life earlier this week? I don't know. I think we'll be fine, but we'll see.
My last little tidbit, I will say, as we head into Michigan, we'll talk about them. And don't worry, we're going to get to the big recruiting information here in a little bit, folks. If you want to retweet this while you're at it for more people to see, go for it. We appreciate you there too. And subscribe to us on YouTube, for goodness sake. You know, I see a bunch of other podcasts I've noticed. We're getting 5,000 views on Twitter. We're getting 20,000, 40,000 impressions, and we still only have like 340 YouTube subscribers. Like, give me a break, guys. Like, if you can watch this on Twitter or X and you have a YouTube account, go subscribe.
And go set one up and just hit subscribe. You never have to do anything else after that.
Because eventually when we get to 500, we can start doing some monetizations and add some cool things. Because let me tell you something. This display here, how this looks, people, I pay for this out of my own pocket. Okay, This ain't free. I just want people to know that. So, but just do it for the good, or just if that's all we ask of you is just to subscribe, just subscribe to it. It's free. So the thing that I would think Brad knows, he's got to trust some of his guys a little bit more. You know, like Dane Danger needed to play more than that. Like, he played 5 minutes in the first half and had 7 points. You know,
he played nine in the first half, 1 in the second half.
Yeah, it's so 9 minutes and he had 7 points and he was battling, getting offensive rebounds and battling. You're telling me that Illinois couldn't have used a bigger body in there on Reese even for 3 or 4 more minutes? And it's like he said, oh, it's the defensive thing about Julian Reese isn't hurting anyone from deep. So it's not like they had to do it, you know, it's not.
No, and that's actually, like, if you go watch Latula's breakdown, that's where, like, I saw some of the clips because I was with you, Ryan. I was like, dude, the Dane's per 40-minute numbers are insane. Like, it's like 23 points, 14 rebounds. Like, if he played 40 minutes every game and you extrapolated his averages. But the problem was, like, dude, Dane put himself, like, he was out high on Julian Reese. Julian Reese, I don't know, has attempted a 3 all year and was opening up driving lanes for Jameer Young, and other rotations for the ball to happen. What I was happy about, and you're exactly right, is Brad said, we are not coaching him up enough on defense for him to do those things. Dude, Dane is arguably our most talented offensive player. I mean, literally, when he gets a guy on the post, I'm like, you're toast. I don't care who's guarding him. Like,
you still agree he should have played a little bit more than 1 minute, right?
I do, but like we just talked about, we couldn't get stops, and he's part of the reasons why we couldn't get stops. Justin Harmon was really bad.
I can tell you this though: when a man's playing 1 minute in the second half, Coleman Hawkins wasn't getting stops. He got one block and run out, and other than that, besides Julian Reese missing 1 or 2 bunnies, he got everything he wanted. So we were 7 for 24 at the rim. Everything, dude. Honestly, and you don't want to talk about. I will tell you this: the layups. That's a huge deal, though. Like, it's not like, oh, they missed 6 layups. They missed
17. 7 for 24
layups. And I was irritated at Justin Harmon's play. That's why I tweeted what I said. I said he had to get one final brick in at the buzzer. Why are you shooting? Like, dude, you couldn't make a layup. Like, I counted, there was that one possession.
He's 0 for 7, yeah.
He got 2 or 3 offensive rebounds. He took 2 of the bunnies. He missed them both.
And he missed a wide open 3, I think, on that one too. It's like, yeah, and I can deal with that. Like, I can deal with guys missing shots because every guy has a game where they miss shots. It was the effort on the defensive end. Honestly, like, I watched that game. I watched it again. I watched the recaps.
I just couldn't bear to watch that game again.
It was tough. It was tough. But that's what happens when you're sick and you got time on your hands. Yeah. And
what did you see? Did you see that coming when Goody was on fire, up 20-11? I'm like, all right.
No. I thought we were gonna walk him.
And then Quincy Guerrier didn't look right either. To be honest.
No, he did. And like, that's what I'm saying. We had 5 of our top 6 players had off games, and Damas didn't necessarily. Damas had 5 turnovers.
Okay, this is what I will say.
He took 19 shots. That's a season high.
And I have to mention this to some people because, and look, even my main man, Ked Prince, didn't think he played well. But here's I can't get on Marcus Damas when he had, what, 25?
Yeah.
It's like
he carried the team.
Yes, he had 5 turnovers, people. And you know why he did? Because not only does he get double teamed a lot, he has to take all the big shots. Yep. And there's guys who simply couldn't even make a layup. So when you're down and the lead's going up and you got Harmon, brick. All right, let's try someone else. Hey, QG, you can get a lefty layup, right? No, brick. Can you get a righty layup? No, brick. Okay. What's next? Anybody? Well, I guess I got to keep shooting, So, like, literally, that's what Marcus Damas was dealt with on Sunday. So he had a bunch of points. He had some turnovers. He was trying to create things for guys, too. He had a couple and so I can't fault the guy. I just don't know how people could say he didn't have a good game. Like,
he didn't. I mean, I think that's what I'm looking at. Like, I don't think you can look at.
But he wasn't allowed to really have a good game when he can't set teammates up if they're not good. Maybe he had 25 and 8 assists. If guys would have had layups, would you count that as a good game?
That's what I'm saying is that I think I don't think after rewatching it, after watching the thing that we all went through, like, I don't think we put a lot of stock in this game.
I thought they blew their wad against MSU.
Maybe I think it was an aberration. I felt like the assembly hall was dead. Sorry, I'll always call it that. I'll be that old codger that still calls them the Oakland Raiders until they moved to LA and then back to Oakland and now they're in Vegas and whatever. Like, my dad still calls them the Baltimore Colts. It'd still be assembly hall. I felt the place was dead. Like, there was energy Thursday night. There wasn't energy Sunday. Bagan, our guy Jay Bagan up here, he said, looks like a team that played at a 1 p.m. tip on Sunday. And yeah, we've had a lot of those. But, dude, we got another one on Sunday.
Against Rutgers, and who got a big win tonight. I was happy for them. They got a big win tonight. And I feel bad for Nebraska. It looks like they lost Jawan Gary for the year.
Yeah. By the way, anybody – like, that game was a piece of crap dog game. and then overtime was phenomenal. Overtime was pure bliss, dude. Guys were making shots, and dude, like,
Yeah.
and Cliff O'Murray. I'm going to start something at the end of this basketball season. I'm going to give one shout out to just about to a senior or a guy on every Big Ten team that I respect. That I'm glad they're graduating, but I respect to watch it. And O'Murray is definitely going to be that guy for Rutgers. Dante Scott's going to be that guy for Maryland.
The one thing about Cliff, why he struggles against Illinois, like, he has to go out and guard Coleman, and that's where he really struggles. If you watch today, even against Nebraska, when Gary and Mast, who he had to guard, when he just can't do it, and that leaves the whole paint open, and he's their rim protector. So, anyway, hopefully that's coming off a big win against Michigan, and we're going to preview that right now.
Yeah, Rutgers is a different team on the road. I think we'll be fine. We got to go handle some business on Thursday.
We got to keep Juwan Howard winless against Illinois as a coach.
Dude, I'm telling you, Michigan is so bad defensively. I watched the game the other night. They are so bad defensively. Who they beat at home the other night?
They beat Ohio State.
Ohio State. It was just the defensive lapses in that game. Just like, oh gosh, they were atrocious.
Weren't they up 14 and then Ohio State erased it in like 3 minutes?
Yeah. I was on Monday, wasn't it? It was the
MLK. Yep.
Doug McDaniel's going to provide some problems. Like he might be a better offensive player than Jameer Young. So we're going to have to go out there and play well on Thursday.
They can't come out and play flat and think it's going to be fine. But to me, it's the Tennessee transfers their toughest matchup.
Yeah. But you could throw in Kamala or whatever.
Kamala. I'm only because you can put whoever we could put whoever on him. We're not going to put Hawkins on him because when they have Terrace Reed in the game, we have no one to handle that unless he wants to try the Hawkins Danger lineup, which when they tried that against, that's the only minute he got in the second half, by the way, Danger. Yeah. So they did some switch and they lobbed it over. But anyway, so I think, Gary A is big enough to put someone on, like, he could handle him, I think, a little bit. You could maybe try Hawkins from time to time when Terrace Reed's not in the game, for sure. But that dude's tough from 15 to 17 feet, man. That's where he was getting his baskets, between 10 and 17 feet. He was in pull-ups and fadeaways. But McDaniel is good, but he's also very sporadic. And he likes to take wild drives to the hoop and just kind of throw it up there with his left and his right. But other than that, I think the defensive Illinois should be able to take Michigan, take advantage of them, because what Damask does well, I think they're going to have to put a Terrence Williams on him.
Well, and that's where Michigan could actually offer some challenges. Is they've got other than McDaniel, they start big guys and so.
Well, Namari Burnett, I think he's
6'4". He's 6'4".
Bad knees, but yeah.
The thing is Michigan's going to be able to score. Michigan's got offensive players. They score well at home. You can't let Williams go 5 for 5 from 3. I do worry, like, their team cohesive unit on defense is just bad. It's just bad. Ohio State shot 3 of 25 from 3. And I watched that game. I imagine you did too. I mean, like, Jamison battled with 1 of 8. It wasn't like those were 8 bad threes taken. I mean, they just didn't hit shots. And I think Illinois will be fine. Illinois will offer them some problems where other teams don't as well. Is that Michigan's going to trot out a bunch of 6-7 guys. We got enough to throw them back out there. So LaChello Ball is on one, dude. He's talking about tell Doug McDaniel he's got 2 fouls when he's got 4, or he won't be able to count how many he has. And then talking about Juwan and Tim Anderson getting in a fight. This is funny to me. So
here's the thing. Did anybody got any inside scoop as to what Julian Reese had been saying during the game or the timeouts that pissed off Tim Anderson? Because I know
he's chirping. I know he's chirping hard at the bench, at the crowd. I still think, dude, I'm gonna stand by this. I'd tell Tim this to his face, right? Just shake the kid's hand and move on, man. Like, Shake his hand and move on.
Even if you just said like "Yo, mama's" a B word, you'd have been like, "Yeah, hey man, love you."
Yeah, because you can't win, bro. Optics, you can't win.
Well,
You
I can
can't.
tell you this: he didn't get reprimanded. He's not
No,
going to sit out a game.
they got in an argument and whatnot. But I mean, what was the general media consensus? Like, I mean, we got made fun of across the board in social world, and it's just we don't win that way. We got enough of a black eye on the program we don't deserve right now as it is. So
yeah. While I don't think this is going to be maybe as easy as many would have thought a few weeks ago, I think they should have just given McDaniel a 6-game suspension or more and just made him deal with. To me, I feel like that's just petty because we know it's an academic thing where he can't leave. I don't know if he can't leave campus or something, whatever. But instead of just saying,
is it an academic thing, or is my man can't leave the state of Michigan? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Can't leave the state of Michigan, but they're going to allow him to freaking play on the team still?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. What is this? This is I've been a college basketball fan since I was 5 years old. Like,
well, everybody inside that Michigan program who loves it, like Ant Wright and even other guys like G Wizzy, have all been talking about it as academics for weeks.
But they're also like, so what does that mean? You can't leave? Like, are you stealing a laptop? Like what difference does it make if you're in academics? Why can't you go to a game in East Lansing?
But I only say that. But if you're on house arrest, you can't play on a basketball team.
I know, but like I'm saying, none of this makes any freaking sense.
I know but you know what? That's Michigan right now. That's the state they're in. I honestly think they won that game because it was a huge. The Fab Five was there, and I'll be honest with you, Ohio State's not as good as I thought they were.
No.
They let Rutgers really almost come in there and beat them at home. Then they let Wisconsin come in and punk them where they couldn't score in the last 6 minutes of the game. They looked like they were winning for majority of it. I just feel like Ohio State's is got talent, but there's just something missing. There's just something missing there. And so I think Michigan was due one anyway. They were 6-10. Like even bad teams in the Big Ten are going to win a few home games. Like it just happens. So I think, to me, I'd rather be coming off a loss going to Michigan with the fired up crew ready to fix what they made instead of a win where you're high on yourself and thinking, or this could possibly be a trap game. But it's not a trap game anymore.
No, you got to right the ship. Not a trap week. You got to win. You got to win these 2 games. You got to beat Michigan. You got to beat Rutgers on Sunday, and then you go to Evanston.
And that's going to be a tough game, and they may not win that game. But I got to tell you this: I'd prefer to be 14-4 heading there than 13-5. So,
absolutely,
being 5-2, playing a good Northwestern team who about beat Wisconsin on the road, over the weekend. So, I'm not going to give necessarily a score prediction. I do think Illinois will cover whatever the spread is. What's the spread right now?
I got to go to my handy-dandy app.
And I'm saying this because I'm assuming it's between like 6 and 5.5 or something.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I don't know. Sometimes they're not out quite yet.
Even 24 hours before my tip?
Illinois is a 2.5-point favorite.
Okay, yeah. So I think Illinois is going to cover. Even if they win by 3, but I think they'll get it done. They'll figure it out. They're a good, savvy veteran squad. This is not a necessarily veteran, tough, intelligent Michigan team. And Juwan Howard's their head coach, so that tells you all I think about it.
Is he?
Well, he's that guy running around pointing at people, so I would hope. What's he? So I wonder if Phil Martelli's like, look, you're the face of the program. Just run around out there, walk around, and like point to the guys and tell them the things that we talk about in the huddles. But in the huddles, I'm coaching this team. Never know. So Kev, let's see here. Let's go through some of the chat. Besides Lachello dominating, come on, Shell. You don't need all the glory, Shell.
He dropped a Dougie. I was about to start Dougieing up in here. Teach me how to Dougie.
Teach him how to Dougie. Thanks, Dewey. And no, James. Hey, James, Dewey, Lachello. Could y'all retweet this for us? That's all we ask. Just give us a retweet.
Hey, speaking of which, our guy James here, We started with James. Might be my favorite book in the Bible. We started early. I really like James.
Yeah, I do love Jeremiah though. That is a great book.
It's a good book.
Yeah, so we're actually getting, Revelations. It's
Man, that's deep, dude.
dude,
It's deep,
Revelations.
dude.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest. Revelations is just a spiritual book, man. It's right here.
For the stories, I'm a big First and Second Kings guy. But we can get this another. We can get this another.
Yeah, I know. Hey, look, I'm not
That's
trying
not
to.
what the folks tune. That's not what the folks tune in for.
We ain't trying to run everybody out of here, man. My apologies. All right, but I ain't got no shame in my Jesus game. I mean, just keep it real.
None here either, brother. Praise him. Let's talk about the recruiting news on the basketball front.
So, yep, we're gonna get to it. So Jeremiah Fears is announcing on Monday, and I don't know if you guys know this. I try to keep up updates. If you've watched the last 3 or 4 episodes, and if you guys are never sure where you can check those out, you guys could go to 200columns.com. They're always there in our video feed. It's actually a really cool updated website. And I'm trying to get some people to write some articles. I really need to get back into it to write articles. I've been asking Luke Lowry to do it, but he's busy, man. It is what it is. But
the one article I wrote blew up in my face, so I don't know if I want to write that one.
Don't let that discourage you. You have great opinions and insight, man. So Jeremiah Fears is announcing, but also you can not only on the website, but you go to 200 Columns on YouTube, keep it orange and blue. Every episode that we've ever done, it's right there. You hit that subscribe button, and every time it's on there, it's right there for you. So Jeremiah Fears is announcing Monday. Okay, I put my Swami selection in. Okay, my crystal ball, if you will. Jeremiah Fears to Illinois, like four months ago, people. Okay, I put it 4 months ago because I was told, hey, this is where it's going to go. This is where it is. But they want to kind of prolong it a little bit. I think he wants to take a visit or two, which it's fair. That's fine. Go ahead and do it. Take some visits. But I know parents love Illinois. They want him to be at Illinois. And I want everybody to remember this. Jeremy Fears easily could be at Illinois. Okay? One of the coaches pretty much got him to commit. Like he was going to commit, and it was literally a staff disagreement. Half were sold on Jeremy Fears, half were not. Okay, and at the end of the day, the man who makes the decisions was not. So if that tells you everything there was to know, it wasn't that the Fears camp didn't want to come to Illinois, okay, because Jeremy did. But they chose not to take him. So I think that soured for a little bit, but they also know the type of point guard Jeremy is, and they see the type of game Jeremiah is. And Jeremiah does not have the same game as Jeremy. Jeremiah is a notch above. And I'm not saying in every category. A little better ball handler, way better shooter, okay?
Yeah, Jeremy is the better passer.
Yeah,
Jeremy is the facilitator.
Yep, Jeremy, and he's tough as nail. He's a dog.
Yes, he is.
He's more of like a Chester Frazier type. But Jeremiah is just – he's like what's the best way to say this? Like he's a top 10 highlight kind of kid.
He's silky smooth.
Silky smooth. Dude's got range 30 feet. He's got handles like Kyrie, Kyrie type ball handling, okay? So there's a reason he's a top 35. He'll be, I think by the time he's done in high school, his ranking is going to drop under closer to where Merez's is. I think he'll be upper 20s to mid 20s probably.
Yeah, borderline burger boy. Yeah.
Yeah, right there where that 5-star line is. Yep. So Illinois, all in on him. Dad sees that. And you already know that Brad has already discussed, dude, it's nothing personal about Jeremy. We think your son's a great player, and they know they're going to have to play him. Jeremy's probably going to have some good games against Illinois before his career's over. But the staff has a right to say, I don't think this is the fit at point guard that we want. So I think they've had that squash for at least a year now. So with that said, I I've been talking to my guy ever since I made that quote. I've got 2 guys that are in on this, and I asked him 3 weeks ago. I'm like, hey, is my pick still good? He's coming to Illinois. Okay. I was told, what was this, 2 days ago? It's coming very soon. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, the next week or so. Okay. Jeremiah's announcing? Yes. Next week. Okay. Then what do I see today from Tipton? Jeremiah Fears is announcing on Monday. Interesting. So you let that sink in a little bit. I was told it's always been Illinois, Kev.
My sources are your sources, so it's not fair really for me to elaborate on this. But
no, but you have still have your own perspective from what you've seen and heard.
Oh, 100%. But I also have some other sources and some digging in here is like Brad Underwood is not afraid to tell a high-rated kid like shit or get off the pot, or I don't think you're the best fit for my program. Brad Underwood has talked about this before. He doesn't like small guards, and he doesn't like guards that can't shoot, right? And furthermore, we can look at James Brown, who at the time was ranked higher than Merez, wanted to come to Illinois with Merez, and Illinois said, nah, dude, like, we don't think you're the best fit for us. And James Brown ended up committing to North Carolina. I'm telling you, Merez Johnson is the better basketball player. And if Illinois wanted James Brown would be an Illini. Illinois is in hot with some other kids in the 25 class, some other guards. And I have a feeling from my sources and the people that I know that Illinois recently talked to Jeremiah Fears and said, hey, dude, your original commitment date was January 13th. You've been playing this reclass, non-reclass thing. Illinois said, hey, man, you want to be an Illini? Shit or get off the pot? We'll find out on Monday. I think Jeremiah Fears will be an Illini. I think his dad loves Brad Underwood. His dad said so many great things about Jeremy when Jeremy was going through the process and how Brad Underwood truly lets his guards facilitate the basketball game. You see it now with how Illinois runs offense. We don't run a lot of sets. We work for mismatches and let players play. Kids like that because you know where else they play like that? The National Basketball Association. You know why these kids want to come to Illinois? They want an opportunity to play in the National Basketball Association, the NBA. These kids want to get a chance to get paid. That's what it's all about. Like, we can stop with all the nonsense. And Felix Laser, he is a 25 kid, and he has stated that he's staying in 25.
He needs to put – okay, if people thought Nico Moretti needs to gain weight, yeah, come on.
Dude, I will tell you this. I have yet – I know there's one example, and I forgot who the kid is. But you've yet to see a guard that reclassified to come out early that has thrived at the college environment. I'm trying to think of that kid that went to Indiana who was all world that reclassified.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He had I know he had like dreads.
Yeah, now he's gone. Like, he's not even at Indiana anymore, man. I kind of feel bad for the kid. Like, you need that level. You need another year of that physical maturity, especially at the guard spot. Like, Merez Johnson could get minutes on this Illinois basketball team right now. He is physically capable. I'll
get you the name of that kid that you're talking about. But anyway, while you're thinking about that and I'm looking this up, I have to say this. I don't care what Trilly Donovan posts. Let me just tell you this. When it comes to Illinois sports, just Illinois, Trilly Donovan's not an insider, okay? So here's my point. I missed on Ray J, okay? But that whole time, remember when it was looking really bad? Remember when Trilly Donovan, he's the one that first initially started the whole bullshit that Ray J's not coming. It looks like he's going to, where did he say? Was it Utah or, yeah.
Yeah, Utah.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to Utah. Everybody, it's Utah. Oh, everybody's Utah GIFs, right? Utah memes. Utah. Ryan, you don't know shit. You don't know shit. Okay, I don't know shit. Okay. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's still Illinois there. It was literally Illinois until like the last day, and he decided to go to fucking Baylor. And guess who had Baylor at like third or fourth on his list? Trilly Donovan. Okay? So Mr. Trilly's not the know-it-all be-all. So I focus on Illinois sports. He's like a national guy that has a lot of insight into many programs, but he doesn't have 100 insiders of sources for every program around. So I really don't care that Trilly tweeted that. That's fine. Just remember, like I told you 4 months ago, I put a crystal ball in. Why would I do that? Where was Trilly at 4 months ago? He had no clue. That's where. Because this is Illinois sports, and that's what I do. So just to put that to bed a little bit with Mr. Trilly Donovan.
Well, there's people who think he's Aunt Wright.
Yeah. Christian Lander, correct. That is correct, Kevin. So I don't know why if that was Aunt Wright, that's hilarious.
I don't think it is. I talked to Aunt, like, I don't think that's the case. So.
Yeah. So, but anywho, now everybody, like, I saw Armchair Illinois, who is, their aunt's basically a Illini voice. And let me just be honest with you. I don't know if anybody of you guys know this or not. I really helped start Armchair Illinois. I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember that? Yeah. So 6 years ago, when Armchair Illinois started in 2017, they asked me to help get it rolling because they saw my social media following. But then as some haters, on me, went ahead and called or messaged the CEO of the company, who eventually it went down the toilet. But hey, he got arrested like 5 years ago. They booted me. And so I like Alex Key, but I'm just saying I was part of it when it started. Yeah, Christian Lander. So, but anyway, Armchair Illinois said, "Oh, Trilly Donovan picked Illinois, so we're gonna have good news because Trilly said so." I hope people. What'd you say, Kev?
Well, how about your sources that have then become my sources that are really good friends with Mr. Fears, the Fears boy's dad? Like that's what's up. Like that. I mean, Trilly Donovan can talk about whatever he wants. Like the two guys that you're talking to are friends with Jeremy's dad. Like friends with Jeremy's dad. Friends.
Yes. Friends.
Like one of them goes way back. Like, and so I trust that opinion. Hey, Felix, man, I appreciate you for letting all the naysayers know. So you keep let all the naysayers know.
All my N-words hate Trilly.
All the naysayers hate Trilly.
Oh yeah, what was that from? What was it on Game Day? Yeah, Game Day.
Jalen Monroe.
Which was like talking about Jalen Milroe was like, all my naysayers. Too funny.
And then we had that football player from Indiana come up after that. So like, well, that's hilarious.
Yeah, David French. It definitely was not Hood Shafino.
No. It was Christian Lander. Christian Lander was a 5-star kid that reclassed. And
he just turned 17. He was playing in Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah, and Christian Lander's a talented basketball player. It just, man, I mean, like, dude, we're seeing it, like, especially in the landscape of today's college basketball. I'll even talk about it. Like, Christian Lander committed in 2020. Like,
where's he at right now? I'm trying to look that up.
Western Kentucky. So,
okay. Yeah,
we talked about this with AJ Dennis. I just got into a whole conversation with some homeboys about Bronny James. Like, I got to look up this whole. It is so different.
Been in college for 4 years and he just turned 21, so that tells you something.
But guys, with the COVID year, and with the transfer portal, it is such a different world when you start looking at freshmen. Dude, there's a 5-star kid at Michigan State that Illinois wanted. Illinois was hot and heavy in. We were in his top 5. His name's Xavier Booker. By the way, we just played them last Thursday night. Any of you casuals see Xavier Booker see the floor? No.
Because Tom Izzo does not trust him at all.
Well, dude, all right. What about Sean Stewart? What about Elmarco Jackson? What about Jeremy Fears Jr.? What about Omaha Bellew? What about Mookie Cook? What about Brandon Garrison? What about Bay Fall? I can go down the list of all these kids that were Burger Boys last year. What about Bronny James that aren't doing a damn thing in college basketball? Yeah. It is a different world right now with the portal and with the COVID year. And by the way, guys, you may not realize this, Coleman, the lone true senior we have on this basketball
back one more year. Yeah.
Could come back next year for a 5th season. So college basketball is 2-3 years older right now than it was 3-4 years ago. And it's so much harder for these guys who are trying to come in and play right away. And while, yes, and that's why we got to take a step back and like relax on the DGL stuff. Like, yes, do I think that kid should play more? Absolutely, because I think he could really, really play well. And I think DGL is going to have a really bright future at Illinois.
Yep, and I just
who's he supposed to play over? He's trying to play over grown-ass men. These dudes are 24 years old.
Yeah, like, it's true. And, I've talked to his mom about that. Like I told you guys, I talk to her at least once a week. We check in. I say, how's her boy doing? Because I've told him I'm not pestering him through the year. Like, that's the last thing he needs is, hey, all right, we need to work harder, man.
The only thing I reached out to that young man was I told him, hey, send Terrence our love. We care for him and hope he's well.
Yes. Nothing wrong with that. That's fine.
That's all I told DGL.
But I'm not being like, hey, man, how you doing, dude? I know not playing sucked, Like, I'm not doing that. So I just said, so here's an example. I want you to know this. This is from April, his mother. What was it? Sunday night into it was Monday. It was Martin Luther King Day. I said, hey, how's Dre? I said, I know he didn't get to play on Monday, but he didn't get to play much, if at all, Thursday. So he didn't play the last 2 games. But remember, what did he do against Purdue? Had a really productive outing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden, just don't play. You don't play. And I don't believe for a second he couldn't have came in and been any kind of effective. I don't believe that. But I think he could have played a few minutes and been sort of bring some energy or something, I just said, so how's he doing? And she said, I just want you to know this. He knows it's challenging, but I told her, I said, he's sitting on the bench. And I know you tell him this, April. He's sitting on the bench with guys that were in college when he was in junior high.
Yes, junior high, when he was in 8th grade.
They were freshmen. Marcus Damask was a freshman kicking ass at Southern Illinois, and he was an 8th grader. Okay?
Yep.
Marcus Damask had great games as a freshman. He had game winners. He had 20-point games as a freshman.
He was 6'6", 200 pounds.
Yeah, so it's like Justin Harmon was in college when he was in 8th grade. Terrence Shannon was at Texas Tech when he was in 8th grade. Okay? So when he sits back and you look at this, like, who am I sitting behind? Why am I not playing? Quincy Guerrero, Syracuse, when he was in 8th grade. So
Quincy Guerrero is 27 years old. No, I mean, he's 20. He's the oldest guy on the team.
He will be 25 a month after the season ends.
Right.
So there we go. Yeah, man. She said he knows all this, and this year she said it's a learning year, but he knows he can come in and help. So he just wants the opportunity. So she told me that.
The point is,
she said, no, I'm not. This is important. The coach Underwood called him Sunday night. Okay, this is from April, and checked in on him and just said, hey, we're going to need you. So keep your head in. Your time's coming. Yeah. So I'm just letting people know that. Coach Underwood knows, and Coach Underwood called him and told him, and he talked weekly. It's not just like a go to practice and, this is what it is. You play hard, I yell at your ass, and then I see you tomorrow. He's calling him and saying like, hey, dude, I care about you. I love you. And you are important here, and you matter, and your time's coming. You keep grinding.
The fact is if you look back at college basketball, we can go back just a couple years ago. Paolo Banchero was a preseason first-team All-American as a freshman coming into college. The best freshman this year by most rankings has been Reed Shepherd at Kentucky. He was the 92nd ranked composite recruit from 24/7. In this class. The third guys, like if I start naming, like, dude, we got a lot of basketball fans here. We got all our boys chiming in here. I can start naming some freshmen that make the top 10 list. And like, dude, does anybody know who Jacoby Walter is? Do you know who he plays for? Like, he's at Baylor. Like, like what I'm getting at is like we went from having freshmen make first team All-Americans or first team preseason All-American teams to this year's preseason All-American team was nothing but guys who are 23, 24 years old. It was Zach Edey. It was Terrence Shannon. It was Armando Baycott. It was Tyler Kolick. It was, now the dude from Duke, right? But like Phil Palsky. But I'm just telling you, like, freshmen don't have the same impact at the college basketball level anymore that we used to see. And it's just a different world. So while I hearken, like, be excited about us nabbing some of these really good freshmen, understand that their impact they're not going to have a D Brown level impact that he had when he was a freshman or some other great freshmen that we've had in the program. It's just a little bit different. And I do want to challenge one thing here is like, I don't know what the NCAA ruling is going to be, but to my understanding is Dane Danger used his one-time free transfer. Now, I know we opened that up, but it's not a carte blanche thing. So Dane can't really transfer. And I think I think Dane is happy at Illinois. I think he's unhappy with his minutes. I think he loves his teammates.
I thought now that they opened it up for you could transfer no matter how many. Like, look what Curbelo did.
Yes, but it wasn't a carte blanche thing. It was a carte blanche for right now. So, like, they're still going to decide on this. So
I think I think Dane just should have 2 more years after this. But from what I've been told, I think 1 more at least. He's going to play at least 1 more year at Illinois. So
and then Sean Garner asked, "Can Coleman come back next year?" Yes, Coleman can come back. I don't think Coleman wants to play another year of college basketball.
I'm not going to tell you what's going on, but boy, that Northwestern Maryland game, whoo, boy!
I got it taped. You know me, don't do that.
I got it right here. You want to see?
No, I don't want to see that. I got it taped. You know me.
Heat goggles. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. So
it's perfect. My wife's in bed. She's asleep. She has COVID. I don't have to. All I gotta do is get up, drive the kids to school. Like,
and then you can watch whatever you want, right? All night. Yeah. It's been nice, right? But anyway, so there's been some football related news, right? With some football related. What was the football related info you were wanting to talk about?
Yeah, 1990. We haven't talked TSJ yet. We'll probably finish that with some final thoughts.
Yeah, we will. We will finish. We will do the TSJ at the end. Sorry to make you guys have to watch all the way,
but also, like, you guys can't tell, like, Ryan and I really like each other and we love talking Illinois sports. Yeah, football. We had some change in the coaching ranks, man. And it's unfortunate, right? Let's look at this. Like, hey, listen, I know there's guys here that hate my guy, Aaron Henry, because of the performance of the defensive staff, but that's still my friend. And so I think it's got a personal level attached to it. And I'll tell you this, the way Barry Lundy Jr. treated me, I think of him as a friend as well. When he and I hung out at the high school football game last year. Seth Coleman's back. That's a huge deal. But yes, Andy Boo and Antonio Finellis were let go.
The one surprise to me, and Kev, you can have it. The Andy Boo thing's a little surprising to me, personally.
Yeah, and I think that was a Brett decision, to be honest with you, and I'm not going to give any more information on that. But what I'm understanding is, like, Andy Boo's a really good football coach at the college level. Like, I don't think anybody disputes that. Andy Boo has actually done a decent job recruiting, but I think that Andy Boo is getting a little long in the tooth for the recruiting side that this staff needs. And I think that Illinois is looking to add coaches, and that's where Finellis was supposed to be brought in, was supposed to be a guy who could connect with kids and close the door, and that just really hadn't happened. He really hadn't shown his chops, and the secondary was bad. The secondary was bad this year. Like,
when you say long in the tooth with Boo, explain that a little bit.
Andy Boo's like 50-something years old. Like, I think Illinois wanted to get a little bit younger on the coaching staff from a recruiting standpoint. I mean,
okay.
Let's be like, dude, like, I'm just going to talk because we talk as dudes on this show, and this is what the show's about. Like, dude, you're from Decatur. I'm from Urbana. Anybody who ever spent any time in Decatur or Urbana understands, like, you can be poor white, poor black, don't matter. Like, you go to Urbana High School, you go to one of the Decatur high schools, like, you're going to school with some hood ass dudes. And I used to say I had a hood card, a hood pass, wherever I went in Champaign, Urbana. Well, I'm sorry. My hood pass has since expired. It's at least 10 years past its expiration date. Like, and I'm not saying that I'm not like I don't still listen to like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and all that shit. Like I still can't, like I'm not down with I'm not down with the lingo and stuff. But dude, Andy Boo is so far past that it's not even to the point. Like I think there's a level if they want a little bit younger staff that can come in and relate to these dudes. Like, let's be real here.
When you started saying that, you got that little slang, and we're like,
I do, man. But you know, like,
hey,
dude,
cool, man.
you're from Decatur, like you get it,
I'm from
man.
Decatur. I know, man. I know. It was what was it? 70% black when I was at MacArthur. Yeah,
dude. I had a buddy of mine one time. We were talking about some stuff, and we're probably in our early 30s. And he was like, we were talking about some race stuff. And he's like, yeah, this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't see it that way. And he's like, of course you don't see it that way. You're a white dude from Urbana. White dudes from Urbana don't have that in them. And I'm like, all right, cool. I actually took it as a compliment.
Kevin lived in Oklahoma. He saw the light.
Dude, my job took me there. Like, come on.
And the light, by the way, not the white. The light. Like,
you're gonna get us canceled. Shut the fuck up.
Why did Chad Nicholson switch from Ole Miss to Louisville? Let me tell you why. I'm gonna be bold.
Playing time,
and he ain't that good. Anywho, I had to say it.
Right. So no, but I think so. In contrast, I think Illinois hired Finellis to have a little bit more of that on their staff, and he failed to execute as a coach. And so I think Illinois is looking at, hey, listen, we can't have both these. Like, they're just going to take the opportunity. There is the guy, what is the name? Cooks from LSU is a good opportunity here. I've heard Holosek mentioned as linebacker coach.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get to.
So, hey, listen, Bielema is not going to stand pat with the staff the way it's performing.
Hey, what would be honest? If he hired John Holosek for linebackers coach, what would you think?
Let
me ask you. You think he could relate to Illinois kids? Chicago, Illinois kids?
You know what? I think John Holosek is the kind of guy that you could put on the suburban, the Sam Laportas of the world, the AJ Epinesas of the world, the kids that we like. And I know Epinesa was down in Edwardsville, but I think like he's the kind of guy that has that grit and that toughness that could be like, dude, I need to show you some tape of 52. Like, I think there would be a level of that would be.
I know he's
probably missing a little bit.
I know he's not like 40, but I think Holosek's like 49. 50. Yeah, he's
5 years older than I am. 4 years older than I am, yeah.
Yes, he's a lot younger than Boo, though. He's like 6 or 7 years. So
yeah, Boo might have been pushing 60. So
yeah. So anybody
but also Andy Boo was I'm not shitting on the guy. It was like kind of an egghead of a guy. I don't know if Andy played college ball. Like great dude from everything.
So from what I was told, so the Kerry Cooks connection here, real quick. I know he coached with Brett Bielema. He was either at Ole Miss. It was either at Arkansas or Wisconsin. I think he was his guy. He was like he was a secondary or safeties coach with him. He's either his ending of his time at Wisconsin, and I don't believe he went with him to Arkansas. So he's known him for a while. They had a really good relationship. And then Kerry Cooks was Brian Kelly's safeties coach at LSU, and they made the whole defensive switch on that side of the ball at LSU. So Kerry Cooks is let go. And from what I was told by a couple people, and I'm not no shame. I follow what Jeff Jones says on Twitter. Is it Jeff Jones? Jeff Johnson. Yeah.
Same.
That dude knows his shit, man. So he's
Jeff Johnson is the OG of every Illinois insider board ever. So yeah, absolutely.
So according to Jeff, Bielema wanted to hire him last year to be the safety, to be the Finellis, but he said, no, I'm staying at LSU. And then, but there was some interest. He wants to come back and be with Bielema, but he's like, I ain't leaving LSU, baby. I'm not leaving double salary or whatever it is. Like, you're going to pay me $440,000 to be your safeties coach. They just weren't going to do it. So now that there's an opening. If it's not Kerry Cooks, I'm gonna be honest. I think that's really surprising for the
Same.
safety. Yep. Yes, sir. So, and with that as well, how big is that for just how big though is that to get Seth Coleman back?
Huge.
I mean, that is. I was hoping my fingers crossed for that, and
I'm happy for Seth.
That's really going to help him too, because he's a guy who can raise his stock to. I think if people got to see him, and so if he went out for a pro day, so at the NFL pro day, I guarantee you he'd show out really well.
I agree.
And there'd be guys that go, we get 6th or 7th round this dude, but now you get one more year on tape of you're the man. I think he's already going to put himself as a 5th, 6th round guy, maybe 5th. And then at pro day, kick ass and move himself up.
Yep.
So, yeah. And I love how Jerjon Newton gets offended that he was the 27th best player in the country this year. You know, that's what I love about Newton, because it doesn't matter even when he's like in the top 3 of something, he's offended. He's like, oh, a top 3? He's like, oh, screw you guys. You know, and so Johnny Newton, I think he's been mocked at 17 to Jacksonville. I've seen that a few places. So he can go.
I saw Seattle, and I kind of like got a little bit excited, because after what's going on as a Bears fan, like I'm fully ready to adopt another team. I'll never do it, but I'm like, dude, if I got Devon,
come on the Cowboys train, man. Come on.
I was already there a little bit, and then y'all screwed me over. No, I'm like, but if you had Spoon and Newton, all I'm telling you right now is, like, screw all these mocks. Johnny Newton is going to show out. Johnny Newton might be the first non-quarterback taken in the NFL.
Hey, what if the Bears picked him at 9?
He ain't going to be available at 9. I'm telling you this right now. I have every confidence in the world that Johnny Newton, if he's not the first non-quarterback taken, he's the second in this draft. Like, people might fall in love with Marvin Harrison Jr. enough to take him 3 or 4. But after that, like, he is going to outperform Joe Alt. He's going to do better than Ola for the Shaku. I'm just telling you, Johnny Newton's going to be a top 10 pick, and he's going to
He should be a top 10 pick, but I feel like he'll be inside the top.
The tape is there. The tape is there, dude. I watched it today. I watched an hour of Johnny Newton tape today.
God.
Those violent hands, like, dude, it is insane.
So you're okay, but let's say he's there at 9. Are you telling the Bears pick Newton? Do they need defensive linemen like that?
Yes. Yeah, every team in the NFL needs Johnny Newton.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, what team in the NFL doesn't need Aaron Donald?
Yeah.
And he's bigger than Aaron Donald.
For real. It's true. Any team, anybody who's watching this, any fan, if you're not a Bear fan, or if you're a Cowboy fan, a Packer fan, a Colt fan, you can use Johnny Newton. I knew Devin Witherspoon was really good, and he showed out in the NFL this year. Like, Johnny Newton is better. When your head coach is calling a dude generational, I think that's a pretty good highlight, right?
He is.
Hey, he said, stop it. He's not. Too many QBs and wide receivers are going top 10, Kev.
Here's the thing, Joe, and I completely agree with you. Argue me the difference between Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, and Keon Coleman. The separation between those 4 guys is paper thin. The separation between Johnny Newton and the next best defensive tackle that can pressure the quarterback is night and day. There's not another interior defensive lineman that can pressure the quarterback like him. And we saw the difference that Aaron Donald and J.J. Watt made in this league. Like, I'm telling you, he's going real high, bro.
Yeah.
Real high.
Well, I can tell you this.
And he's a great dude. And he's got a huge chip on his shoulder that those coaches are going to eat that shit up.
Yep. Oh, I 100% agree. I was trying to make sure we covered all our bases for any Illini stuff we've missed over the last 9 days. We're going to get to TSJ here for final thoughts. So we went over the coaching stuff, which I needed to get to. We got fears. We got the preview. We got the loss to Maryland. I think that's it. I don't think there's any other. Hey, good on the Illini women for kicking ass the last 2 games. Illinois went on the road and stopped Northwestern by like 28 and rebounded by kicking Rutgers' ass tonight at home. They needed to just get some of that yuck off of them, because They were way better than getting blown out by Michigan at home. And they sure as hell deserved to win one of the Nebraska and Indiana games. They played hard enough. But then when you come home and throw a stinker against a bad Wisconsin team, to me, it was too much of this. So
she's the best coach on campus, though.
Yeah. Well, hey, I think Shauna Green's a hell of a coach. I think they'll get it right.
She's a hell of a coach. It's just that shit wears me out a little bit. Like, come on.
Yeah. All right. So if anything else, people we missed that you want to know, just ask in there. We're going to get to it really quickly here. So final thoughts. Kev, I'll let you start out with whatever you want to talk about. I know it's in TSJ. If you want to talk about it, I will. So I just want you guys to know we will address it. Go ahead, Kev.
No, I'll absolutely talk about it.
But I mean, my point is, it's your final thought. I can't tell you what your final thought is.
I mean, my godfather's on his lawyer team. I grew up in a lawyer family. Like, my dad was an investigator for a law firm. Like, I mean, like, this is. I was a military police officer. I don't understand why he was charged. I'll stand by that. Like, I don't get, with the information that we have at our disposal, why he was ever charged. And so therefore I feel like he has a phenomenal case. That being said, he was officially charged by the Douglas County District Attorney in Kansas for rape. The University of Illinois has an obligation at that point in time to suspend an athlete from.
Yes, Anthony. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yes, yeah, from participating. The TRO has taken longer than anybody expected. We thought we would hear something last week. Here we are. It's Wednesday and we still don't know anything. Honestly, I think that's good for Terrence's side, because I thought it was a little bit of a Hail Mary as it was. And the longer this goes on, the better I feel that Terrence has a chance to get the TRO. But unless something major comes of this, like if I was a betting man, I'm putting money that he never plays for Illinois again. And I hate to say that, because what I do, like what I think I know, I don't think he did anything. If he did anything, he's the slyest, like most cunning, deceivious rapist in the history of the world, that he was able to find a girl in a bar where there wasn't any video of the two of them for 60 seconds and casually do what he was accused of doing. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And nobody else saw it and nobody can corroborate it. Like, he's the greatest of all time at being a horrible human being. And everything about Terrence Shannon that we've known about the man for 23 years doesn't align with that. I don't know if the TRO gets approved. I hope it does. I hope for his sake it does. I hope for Illinois' sake it does. But the bigger picture, in my opinion, and I've stated this from the beginning, is I don't believe the young man did it. And if he didn't do it, that's the bigger picture. I hope that he can clear his name of all charges and go on to have an illustrious NBA career, and Illinois can support him and potentially even raise his jersey to the banners, which they won't do. But the last and least is that Illinois as a university has at least 20,000 undergrads that are females. 20,000 undergrads on this university that are females. 1 in 5 of those will experience a sexual assault in their lifetime. That's what's the number of that? 4,000? 4,000 students. You have 10% of your total student population. And that number is actually probably low, because there's probably more females than there are males at the University of Illinois. The University of Illinois is not railroading Terrence Shannon by suspending him. They're not out to get him by suspending him. They have an athlete, a very prominent figure on their university, on their campus, that has been charged, not accused, charged with rape. And while we all may feel that that charge is flimsy, it's still a charge, and the university has to act appropriately, and it has bylaws, it has constitutions, it has all the things that it must uphold to suspend him. This is not a smear job against Terrence Shannon.
Title IX violations too, right?
100%, and that is a huge. If Illinois was to ever get caught, and that's where this court could free Illinois up of a Title IX violation. That's in essence what the whole argument is, because a Title IX violation against Illinois would be catastrophic. Guys, Illinois is not out to get Terrence Shannon. They have to do what's right to protect the university. Do I ever think this gets to trial? No. If it does, I know the attorneys that are involved on Terrence Shannon's side, they will eviscerate the DA from Douglas County. She will lose miserably, and Terrence Shannon will be able to go live his life appropriately. But the University of Illinois is not a court. It doesn't have preponderance beyond a reasonable doubt. It doesn't have any of the legalities terms. It simply has its bylaws, and they have a student that's been charged with sexual assault. They have to abide by those bylaws. That's why it's in federal court. That's why they have a magistrate looking over this for a temporary restraining order. If that gets passed, Terrence plays for Illinois again. If it doesn't, my best is he never plays for Illinois again, and that's sad. But I'm in full confidence that he gets cleared and exonerated of his charges, and I'll pull for him his NBA career. That's that. That's the list.
Beautifully said. Well put. Let me try to help you catch your breath a little here before we end the show.
Yeah, my throat is a little raspy there. Like,
I know, man's sick, and he's like, we're just pouring our hearts out for you. But that's why we were giddy to do this show for a few days, but we were both so sick. So as yes, Sean, you never let me say anything. Kedrick Prince, who knows the family very well, the Shannon family, and talks to the attorneys and such things of that sort. I'm not saying who of the clan told him anything, but he was told, and other people close to Ked, that there is no DNA. That's Terrence's DNA was not found. He has already produced DNA. He's already given blood and anything else that they've asked. He was
the DNA submitted by the defendant, by the complainant about Terrence Shannon. There was no touch DNA from Terrence Shannon supposedly in her underpants.
Correct. Yes.
Right.
No fingerprints and nothing. No follicles. Nothing. There was nothing of that sort with Terrence Shannon on it. So they're 100% fine with that, and they know and they're confident in that. So I think if we don't hear anything, so the TRO, I really believe the judge is waiting to see what happens tomorrow, first off. And I know not much necessarily is going to happen. I was told by one other person in particular who talks to Terrence attorneys. And let me just tell you, I am blessed and super grateful that I'm able to talk to these people in the know. I've gained respect, to be able to talk to me about these things, because then I'm able to elaborate with you guys. So that first off, that this hearing tomorrow, there's been tweets and things focused out on saying that the next hearing has to be, it's either going to be in March or April, possibly. That I want everybody to know that it's not true. A Kansas state law, after this first hearing, the next hearing has to be within 14 days. That's Kansas state law. Now think about that. That'll lead to be like February 1st, I think. When does all that DNA have to be in for that judge? January 31st. Okay? January 31st is where it says all that DNA has to be sent in from her, and Terrence, all of that, everything, blood samples, all DNA, so it can be sent in so they can analyze it and go over it, look at it. A day or two after that will be his next court date in Kansas. And I can promise you that tomorrow when they announce his next court date, because they will, it's going to be in early February. It's going to be right after that. So the judge, it's possible, could throw this all the way out. I know I'm going to get back to the TRO. This all could get thrown out, Kevin, in a couple weeks. So I'm just telling, if he sees there's no DNA linking at all, and he already knows it's a he said, she said, that's what these discovery motions are for, is for him to see, what do you have and what do you have here? Do you have anything? You have nothing other than she said you did it. We have no video evidence he did it. You have no witnesses that saw it. You have witnesses that said it didn't happen because they were with you the whole time. So the only thing linking Terrence to this woman is her saying he did this. There is no DNA linking Terrence. So then what do you hold on to, Kev? You have nothing. So then the judge, a professional judge, would not continue to linger on a process of more taxpayer money, more time, people's lives, if there is nothing that could possibly link him to her. So in my opinion, before I finish with the TRO, what I think is going to happen with that and when is that if we don't have anything, if there's no new discovery after that February 1st or 2nd hearing, after the DNA is all sent in, then that's the bad news and the sign that he's not going to play the rest of this year. Because after that hearing in early February, that's when things are going to get pushed out. It could possibly get pushed out again until late February, maybe early March, and then that's when it's like at that point you're going to reinstate him, March 15th, right when the tournament starts, or he still has a weaker, he's still going to have get into game shape. You're not just going to throw a guy in there you just welcome him back in the Big Ten tournament. He's going to be right back. That's just not realistic. But I'm telling you guys, I still have hope. I know that Terrence's team is confident and they know his DNA is not going to ever show up on anything. And that to finish up with the TRO stance, I was told earlier today that her and her team, because they have legal aids or whatever, they go over all case laws, and they're just seeing and comparing cases that are similar to this to see, is it possible for her to rule that it is for Terrence to go back to play with this? Did Illinois violate his due process? Because if there is no other university that has ever done this, that has been ruled on, that's going to be really hard for her to agree for Terrence.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, guys, like my godfather is on the team. Like I told Ryan this, like he knows it. I so badly wish I could call in a favor and ask him about this and ask him like to fill me in. I'm never going to do that.
No.
Right? Like I'm saving that favor for when I'm in Terrence's situation, and not saying exact situation, but he's my godfather. He's one of the most predominant attorneys in Illinois. He's the youngest man to appear before the Supreme Court. Like, I wish I could ask him more about this, but I can't because I respect that too much, and I love the man, and he loves me, and he also knows I have this platform, and it wouldn't be fair for me to ask him, so I wish I could. But I'll just tell you this, like, the man was a law professor at the University of Illinois for a long time. He's one of the best litigators ever. If Terrence Shannon has a chance of getting out of this with the TRO, it'll happen. If he doesn't, I have full confidence that Terrence Shannon will never be convicted of this crime, but his chances of playing basketball in Illinois, I think, might be limited.
And here's how I will end you, as a sick man will leave your presence until Sunday night after a 2-0 week from Illinois. You heard that, God, right? Okay. All right. So I do truly believe, no matter what, if he does not play at Illinois again, which is still possible, he may not, that he will be cleared of this. And at the end of the day, his professional career matters more. Him as a man matters more. And that is what I feel confident that
100%
will be cleared of. So
100%.
That's what's most important. And I know it kills him that he can't play. It kills him more than it kills us, if you guys can believe that.
Oh, for sure.
So think about that. How much does it bother us, right? Like, I've been the guy, in that situation, accused of stupid shit, and your life's taken from you. You feel like shit. Everybody else, I feel so bad for you. You're in the situation. Do you? You may. You're not in hell, though. That dude's in hell because his life's on the line. He's having his life taken from him. He's having something that he's played since he was 3 years old. Can't play it right now.
It'd be not Ryan. Wouldn't it have been nice for you to have the finest legal defense team possible in your defense?
Oh, I would have loved it.
As opposed to a public defender.
Yeah, I want people to know this. Even though it's not about this, and there's no limelight.
Nah, dude. I'm using it in my forum to come to your defense in that regard. Yeah. Like,
hey,
would be nice. You'd like to have my godfather as your attorney back then.
Oh, I would have loved it, but I did not have a public defender. My aunt ponied up to help me.
Oh, sorry.
Just because it was a serious offense. So, But anywho, but my point is I know what it's like to be in that hell. And I think and Brad Sturdy, who's a close friend of mine, texted me and said, it's ironic the situation is this. I think, Ryan, you know how Terrence feels more than a lot of people because they're pushing him to take that plea deal. They want him to take that plea deal.
Right.
If he takes, the only way I can see something changing is if they can get that misdemeanor to something non-sexual. That's the only way Terrence can play again. But then, even if it's a simple battery, does that look good on a guy who's trying to get drafted?
No.
It's not. But my point is that's what they're doing. That's why they have two. That's why they had that misdemeanor charge in there. So, with that said, I feel confident as Shannon as a man's going to be clear to this because there's really not enough there. And people out there tweeting that there's a lot of people out here coming up with these false rumors that are not true. That same gentleman, whose name's Mitch, by the way, didn't even realize that Kansas state law says 14 days from your first hearing, you have to have a second hearing. So don't believe everything you read from legal analysts on Twitter either. So anything else, Kev, before we jump off?
Nah, man, I'm good. Just praise him in all things, man.
That's right.
Starts talking about the offense, talking about Lord. I'm a sinner in all ways, but like, dude, I bring it all to him.
Hey,
I bring it all to you guys. So thank you so much.
I hope you feel better. I got my amoxicillin in me. Get me some more before I go to bed. Get me some more Claritin. But Jeremiah, my favorite book.
Yeah, it's up there.
Swallow me out.
ILL.